A few weeks ago, I was on Max Perzon's podcast. I posted it in our free community. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. I'll maybe put the link in this video. But I was invited onto that podcast initially to talk about marketing. And it took a sideways turn real quick where we started to talk about spirituality, meditation, mindset, God mode. And that conversation lit me up, and it's something that I have studied for a long time. It's why our company name is called Soulful Sales. There's an infinite game that we're playing that is beyond just growing a community, building a business, even bigger than impacting lives. There's just like a bigger game that my soul is playing. And it's here to learn, and it's here to grow. And every morning I read and I journal. And one of my favorite things to do is like jot things down in my iPad, whether that be a framework, whether it be, an insight or a way of sharing, integrating, learning, embodying the ideas that transform my life continually, ongoingly. And I wanted to share some of that in this community if this is valuable. So if it is, and you watch this video, comment on this post. Let me know if you want to see more of this, and I will share more of these. I'm thinking like I might call it something like Money and Miracles. And just like this intersection, if there was two foundational books that have had profound impact on me, it would be Think and Grow Rich and A Course in Miracles. In fact, one of the courses that we give away for free in here is called A Course in Conscious Wealth. And that was back when I was a financial planner. You can find it in our classroom. But anyways, in this video, I want to talk about this idea about transmuting an intangible thought impulse into the physical realm, and how that process actually works, how that manifestation actually works, and how the internal game, ethereal game, is connected into like this material physical world. And so there's a great quote from Think and Grow Rich. Oh, and actually, let me share my little doodle pad. So a quote I thought of this morning was, an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into its physical counterpart. And it is often and always. And then I started thinking about, why is it that the majority of us, myself included, create similar days, weeks, months, and how is it that we can cause rapid transformation and create those big changes in life? For me, they're getting faster and faster. And when I look at going from $500,000 in debt to being able to make $500,000 a year, it took me a while to develop the skills and the character and the beliefs to do that. But now that I've done it, it's like, okay, well, what's the next thing? And things happen a lot faster than they used to. And I think, so I wanted to share like why and how do you create these kind of changes? And I think understanding this, that the idea of that you can take an impulse of thought and turn it into its physical equivalent, but there's like some things that get in the way. So then I started thinking about Groundhog Day, like where you just kind of live the same day over and over again. I think I saw Dr. Joe Dispenza talk about this, where it's like majority of us just repeat the same patterns day after day and after day. And it's primarily because we don't actually take time to think new thoughts. We just think the same thoughts. And therefore we do the same things. And so we live these kind of groundhog days and groundhog lives. And then from a book in A Course in Miracles, they have this definition of like, what is a miracle, right? And I think sometimes when we think of miracles, it's like Jesus or Moses, parting seas, or, raising the dead, healing the sick. But A Course in Miracles defines a miracle as simply a shift in perspective, a shift from fear to love, a shift from isolated to oneness, to connectedness. A word I've been using more recently is like, it is God mode. It's like being able to see without the lens of my own limited self. And so if we can grasp that literally a miracle happens whenever there is a shift in perspective, and that shift in perspective allows us to think new thoughts, then it's like, is that not the purpose then, to like cause as many of these shifts in perspective, to create enough space in our thinking, in our world, to have shifts in perspective? And there's many different things that you can do for that. You can meditate, for example, journal, for example. You can just take time, like if we can just pause long enough, if we can breathe, like simple things that help us to have enough space in our thinking to put some different thoughts in. And so then I was thinking about, how do we turn this impulse, right? Impulse of thought into its physical counterpart, whether that be, I want to make, $1 million, I want to have this house, I want to manifest whatever it is that you want to create for yourself. Well, how do you do it? Well, the first thing that you need is the perspective shift, right? You need a paradigm shift. You need to think different thoughts. And one of the ways that I remember that is honestly just like in the morning and remembering, like carving out time every morning to clear my mind, to brain dump all of the things that I'm thinking about, and to just journal everything and get everything out of my head, and create space. And then from that space that gets created, there is like desires that bubble up. And then it's like, and allowing those and allowing my soul to be stirred by the things that I desire. A core desire for me is like, I want to have a goat. And it's kind of a joke amongst my friends, but it's like a lot of people want Lambos, fancy Rolexes. For me, my like symbol of success will be when I have a goat, because it represents, that we would have a farm and we would have land and, everything that goes along with a goat. So it's like there is a desire that I have that is clear, that I am thinking about, that's just like always right in front of me, that's kind of like a North Star that I will manifest and make happen. And part of it is, so the desire, in order to manifest the things, there's the desire, but then there needs to be, the desire almost leads to the purpose. And there are many different purposes that you could have in many different seasons of your life. But for me, and I think for many of us, when I think of like, what are we doing here? I really resonate with the idea that, look, I am trying to become the 10.0 version of myself. That's what I'm doing here. And then it is to share that version with the world and hopefully inspire others to step into their 10.0 version of themselves. But I'm playing my game, and I'm just trying to become the 10.0 version of myself. And that occurs to me as a purpose worth living. And as I do that, I know that as I do that, I'll be able to attain my desires. And then lastly, I think this is from Think and Grow Rich, but it's like, persistence is to man what carbon is to steel. And it's like persistence. If there's one thing that I can say that has allowed me to transform my life, my financial situation, it is none other than the persistence. Persistence of holding on to the desire, to continuing to deepen my faith in the unseen, to continue to surrender and trust that there's something bigger supporting me. In God. And that's what gives me faith. to persist. And over time, I get to experience the benefit of that persistence and become the person who can manifest the desires. And so, this is kind of like my thoughts today about how we might take an intangible impulse of thought and have it be made manifest. And what might that process look like? In that, first, what's required is different thinking. And we need to create the space for the different thinking to happen. We can do that by meditating. We can do that by brain dumping, just journaling all the stuff, getting out of your head. And then paying attention to the desires, the things that excite you, the things that you feel deeply moved by that you want to create. And then in crafting a plan and moving towards that, you become a version of yourself. You define your purpose. You get aligned with your purpose of becoming the best version of yourself. And then it is simply a matter of persisting continuously until it happens. All right, these are my thoughts on money and miracles. Let me know what'd you like, what'd you learn? Would you like to hear more of this conversation? Thank you for being in this community. All right, have a great day. I'll see you soon.